Hi everyone, it's Barry here from Mitosu Crafts, your independent Stampin' Up demonstrator based here in the UK. Thank you very much for joining me today, and thank you very much for joining me for this week's Fun Fold Friday video tutorial. As you can see, this week I'm going to be showing you how you can make this lovely hanging Christmas tree decoration or ornament or bauble, whatever you want to call it. So that's what I'm going to be showing you how to make today, using some very simple supplies, using up your lovely designer series paper. So again, I'm using here painted Christmas designer series paper is what I'm using to decorate this as well, and this lovely ribbon. Yes, I did say ribbon. I'm going to attempt to tie a bow live on camera. It's the cherry cobbler gold, cherry cobbler and gold ribbon. This one right here, metallic ribbon is what I'm going to be using. So yeah, it's a really lovely project, really easy to do, and it's big enough so you can then pop yourself a couple of chocolates in here if you wish, and then you can then just make a lot of these and pop them on your tree and decorate your tree as you wish. So yes, that's what I'm going to be showing you today. So instead of a card, I figured I will bring you a 3D item or a Christmas tree ornament. Links to our online shop can be found down below in the description. So if you like anything you see me using, you can purchase them from us via our online shop. So please check the links out down below in the description. Links to our website, donation buttons, anything can be found down below as well, so just go and have a little look at that for any other links which you may find interesting. Please remember to give us a thumbs up if you are enjoying what you've seen, and hit that subscribe button somewhere over here. And yes, please hit the bell button as well for all notifications to be notified when we go live. Now, we go live to you several times a week. We go live on a Wednesday and a Sunday evening at 7 p.m. And then we come to you on a Friday at 6 p.m. with the Fun Fold Friday video tutorial. So I will pop a link somewhere up the top here as well to our other Fun Fold Friday videos, so you can go back and have a little look at that as well. And we do have obviously a Christmas playlist, so if you want some other Christmas ideas, go ahead and have a little look at our Christmas playlist. So anyway, let's crack on and show you how easy and fun and simple it is to make this lovely Christmas decoration. Sit back, relax, and enjoy. Okay, so to make this decoration, you're going to need yourself just a couple of supplies. You're going to need some cardstock. You're going to need some A4 cardstock. We're going to cut that down to size, and you're going to need your chosen designer series paper, and we'll cut that down to size in a second. So as I mentioned earlier on, I'm using the painted Christmas designer series paper, and I'm going to be using this lovely pattern right here. I think it is absolutely lovely. So that's the one which I'm going to do, and I think that works lovely with the cherry cobbler cardstock. So they're the two bits which I'm using, and I'm going to be using some ribbon. I'm going to be using a punch. So you need a punch which or something, the ability to punch a hole so you can feed your ribbon through. So I'm going to be using the detailed trio punch. If you haven't got that and you've got one of the older tools, you've got like this, the crocodile punch there, you can use something like that. But you just need something. So I'm using the detailed trio punch that I can punch a hole and I can round the corners off at the same time. I am going to be doing a bit of heat embossing, so I've got myself my Versamark. I've got myself some a white stamping powder. I've got myself some black cardstock here just for doing my sentiment. And obviously I have got myself my heat tool as well. Basic things, bone folder, scissors, ruler, bits and bobs like that. What you want to do is you want to take your cherry cobbler cardstock and you want to cut this to a 6 by 9 inches. So I'm going to be working in inches in this. So 6 inches by 9 inches. So I'm going to do 6 inches first, and then I'm going to take it to 9 inches. Okay, and then these parts are offcuts, which you can then use for some other projects at a later date. So you've got those ones. Whilst we've got our trimmer here, I will do some scoring as well. So we want to score this along the long edge, and we want to score this at 1/2 inch. And then we want to score it at 2.5 inches, 4.5 inches, 6.5 inches, and 8.5 inches. Okay, so that was 1/2 inch, 2.5, 4.5, 6.5, and 8.5. Turn it around onto the short edge, and then you want to then score this at 2 inches and 4 inches. So short edge at 2 and 4. Okay, so let's go through that again. That was on the long edge, 1/2, 2.5, 4.5, 6.5, 8.5. turn it around onto the short edge and then score it at 2 and 4. That's all the scoring which you need to do for that one there. Pop that to one side and then grab your designer series paper, and we'll cut ourselves some squares whilst we've got our trimmer here as well. So I'm going to just take myself off a strip, and I'm going to cut this at 1 7/8 of an inch. And then I'm going to cut some squares. So I'm going to need, how many am I going to need? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 squares at 1 7/8 by 1 7/8. So I'm just going to do this now. All right, so I have got myself 8 of those at 1 7/8 of an inch by 1 7/8 of an inch. Okay, so we're going to stick some designer series paper on here. It's easy to do this whilst it's flat. We want some designer series paper to go all the way along here. So just stick them, 4 of them down the middle. So if your pattern flows, then just make sure you just keep your pattern going. And the other 4, I will tell you where they go in a moment, because at the moment I've gone completely and utterly blank on what parts need to get covered up. Leave the other 4 panels to one side for the moment, and then what we want to do now is we want to do some cutting. So we want to cut away these rectangles, so rectangle, rectangle, rectangle and rectangle. We want to cut away those 4 rectangles. Okay, so just snip these away first of all. Okay, so you've now cut away those pieces, and now what you want to do is you want to cut along these score lines here up to the first score line. So we're going to go down each of these outside score lines down to the first score line, and we're going to do that on all of these, so on all the score lines on both sides. Okay, so you've now got that, which has now got all of these parts now done. What you can do is you can fold and burnish your lines now. So just go ahead and then just fold and burnish these score lines. Now you could have done this beforehand and then cut it. It's really down to you, your own personal preference on how you want to do this. So you can either fold and burnish and then cut, or you can cut and then fold and burnish like I'm doing. There is no right or wrong way to doing that. Okay, and these ones here, the ones on the outside, you want to then fold it the opposite way to what you've done. So everything else has been coming in. The outside ones, fold it back on itself, so the opposite way to what you've been doing the other ones. Okay, so this is now where we're going to decide on where these other 4 pieces of DSP are going to go, because what we're going to do is we're going to, depends on what one you're going to stick. So if you're going to go that way or that way. So I'm going to go with the outer one because it gives me a tidier edge right here. So I'm going to stick my designer series paper to these 4 panels here like this. Okay, so if this one was going to be on the outside one, you would then stick it on those ones, but because I'm going to decide to have these ones here as being my outside one, that's how I'm going to stick it. So again, decisions, crafter's choice where you want it to go. And it's also crafter's choice on whether or not you do something different as well. Now the way that I'm going to do it, I'm not going to cut in to anything. But I will show you something. If you're going to do and cut some cardstock away, so both pieces are going to be showing, you're going to need to cover every single panel with designer series paper. But the way that I'm doing it, you only need to cover these ones right here. So if, on the safe side, cover all of them if you want to. It would depend. I've got an example of something I'll show you of what I mean in a second. So that's that. Okay. Then what you want to do is we then want to then do some preparations and some rounding off with this. So we want to just round off some corners. Now the best thing to do is this. I want to grab my detail trio punch and I'm just going to round off the edges right here. just to tidy off, just to make these tabs a little bit tidier. And then we need to punch ourselves some holes as well. So just grab yourself a pencil and a ruler. Now to get these in the same position, what you want to do is you want to then just pop a pencil line at 2.5 inches and at 3.5 inches. So I'm lining it up on the edge here, and I'm just going to pop a pencil line here at 2.5 and at 3.5, around about yay far down. Okay, just so I can then line up the punch so they're in the same position on both sides, and then do the same on the opposite side, 2.5 and 3.5. Okay, grab your punch or whatever you're using, and we're going to then use that line there to then line up my line on my punch, and then I'm then just going to then punch that out, and then do the same on the opposite side, like so, and then just do the same on the opposite side, and then over here. And then those holes, when they kind of close together, at least they're going to be roughly in the same position like that, so it's going to be easier to feed your ribbon through, which is all those pencil lines are for, is just so it helps you line up them on both sides. Well, I suppose what you could do is you could always go through the two whilst it's flat, and then you could do it that way if you want to. It's entirely up to you. Again, I've chosen to do it this side like that. So good, so we have now got the basic, we just need to construct this box together. So what we want to do is we want to stick this one to this one, and then that one to that one, and then do the same on the opposite side. Good. So that there is the start of your ornament. I'm just going to leave all of this to one side for a moment just to dry up and get rid of any excess sticky glue. And whilst that's drying, I'm going to move on to the sentiment part and do some heat embossing. So just pop that to one side, and then we'll construct that rest of that in a second. Take some black cardstock, and again I'm using my chosen sentiment. So the sentiment which I'm using is from the Bright Bauble stamp set. So I'm going to be using the Merry and the Christmas. This is a technique I'm really enjoying at the moment. So I'm just going to be doing some partial embossing and stamping and cutting it out, and just doing some very basic cutting. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to ink up the Merry. This is a favourite technique of mine at the moment. It's very, I seem to be doing it a lot. And then so I've done that, and I've done the Christmas. Grab something to catch your powder, and then pop your white embossing powder or your chosen embossing powder on top of this. Once you've done that, go ahead and just heat set these with your heat tool. There we go, and there we have it. Now I've had some excess, some random powder which has melted there, but I'm not fussed on that because I'm going to be cutting out anyway, and it's just going to add some character. To avoid this, just prepare your cardstock with some embossing buddy or some talcum powder or cornstarch or whatever it is you would use, just to take off any moisture or any stickiness from the card. But I'm going to be cutting majority of it away anyway, so I wasn't worried on it. And I'm just going to roughly cut this out. I'm not worrying about it being too straight. I'll try and get it as straight as I can, but embrace the wonk. So, and then do the same with the Christmas. And there's my two sentiments there. So Merry Christmas sentiments right there for you. Okay, so that's those parts ready. Right. Now we have the decision on a ribbon. So I'm going to show you the two different styles which we can do. So we've got this one right here. So all you want to do is you just basically want to fold this up. and this then folds into each other, and then we're going to tie some ribbon through these, and that basically now is your bauble, okay, or your ornament, whatever you want to call it. I personally prefer it that way. I think it looks better, and it tidies the box up a little bit more. What I will do is I'm just going to round off the edges on one of these, and just on these corners right here, and the bit which I'm going to round off the edge on will be the inside of the box. That's it. So I've just rounded the edges off on one of those. It just makes it sit in, so it doesn't actually catch on the corner on the inside there. So that's the part which is going to be on the inside, like that. Okay, so that's the way I've chosen to do mine. Now the other ones which I've seen people do is where they get their box and then they cut away this panel right here. So all you want to do is you want to basically grab your scissors, and then you want to cut from the corner and then take it to the corner like so, and then do the same on all. So I've already done it on one side already, and then you just take those away, and then that connects together like that, and then opens up that way. Okay, but I think it looks, personally, I think it can look a little bit untidy down there. If you don't get your cut perfect, don't get it looking, it can look a little bit messy and untidy. So that's why I figured it was nicer to do a whole box and then have the whole thing in, because I think it just tidied it up. It closes in nicely, it feels more solid, and when that's hanging on a tree, you're not going to have any gaps hanging down. So that's why I decided to do it. But there are two ways. You can either do it this way, and then you can then snip it and then tie it. It will still work. I just personally feel that this one here is a tidier box. Okay, and we know that this is going to be the back. So I'm going to decorate it, because I've got the tidier edges right here. I'm going to decorate it on this side and make sure my bow is on this side right here. Okay, so there are the two styles. Leave my sentiment to one side, and we're going to grab our bow and our ribbon. Let's see how this goes. I'm not the best bow tire, but we'll see what happens. I will try. This may fast forward. If it fast forwards, you know it's not going too well. But I'm going to basically just feed this through one of these holes. Before, obviously, you do this, what you want to do as well is, if you are tying this up, pop your chocolates in now, because then they are then ready to be decorated. Because the last thing you want to do is spend ages getting a lovely bow tied, and then you're going to go to untie it again to pop your chocolates in. So pop your chocolates in now, then you can then pull this through, and you need quite a bit of ribbon here, because you need enough for a loop, and you then need enough to tie the bow as well. So feed it through both sides, and you're going to have enough for a hanging part. And just tidy that. So I think that's around about sufficient for a hanging like that. And then we want to tie your bow. So let's see how this goes. It's not the easiest of ribbons to tie a bow with like this. It does tie a nice bow, but it's not exactly the, I'm not the best bow tire anyway. You know what? I'm going to take that. I'm actually quite happy with how that came out. I'm not going to play with that anymore, because I'm actually quite happy with it. I'm going to leave my tassels relatively long, because I want them dangling a little bit. So I'm just going to cut these off at a little bit of an angle, and then that there. I'm actually really quite happy with how that bow has actually turned out. So tie your bow, and then that's hanging. Then all you want to do is then just finish this off with your sentiment. Now I was thinking, obviously, if you have time, you could make 25 of these, and you could make yourself some advent calendars. Okay, so pop some chocolates on. You could make these for a lovely Christmas tree advent calendar as well, would be nice. You could pop some numbers on these, And I think this would be a great thing. Obviously, if you've got time, get the kids involved, get them making some of these. Be a lovely way of actually doing this, I reckon. So, but if not, you could just maybe just put some special. You can put some special presents in them, hang them on the tree. I don't know whether or not you're like us. Sometimes some special presents get hanged on. We hang special presents on the Christmas tree. So this could be something you hang a special present in, and then you give those special presents some of the last ones to go out. So yeah, there's an idea. So I'm going to then pop the Happy Christmas or the Merry Christmas down there, and I just like the way that the black card with the white embossing with the gold, I think just makes that pop quite nicely there. And there we have it. There is a lovely, I think, tidy, smart, neat hanging Christmas decoration. So there we have it. What do you think? Do you like? Are you going to have a go? I'd love to know if you're going to actually have a go at any of these decorations. Send us some pictures as well. We'd love to see. But that there is a very simple Christmas decoration. Remember, you can do it one of two ways. You can either cut to make it like this, or do what I did and then make it into one whole box. And I think that just then makes it a lot tidier. My personal preference is this way. So I have got two already. See, I've done 2 bows. Look at that. I'm really quite impressed with myself. I've actually tied 2 bows this evening. So there we have it. Thank you very much for watching. I hope you've enjoyed that. I hope you're going to have a go at making these hanging baubles. Save this in your playlist for next year as well, and come back and then have another rewatch if you want to. Remember to hit that subscribe button down at the bottom down here, and links to our online shop if you want to purchase anything can be found down below as well in the description. But we'll be back with you again on Sunday at 7 p.m. for our live. So if you want to catch us live and chat with us live, then please do. We'll be chatting with you somewhere over on the live chat here whilst this video is going on. So I hope you said hi to us. But yeah, we will be back with you again very, very soon on Sunday, or whenever you're watching this on a Wednesday, if you're watching this on a replay, at 7 o'clock live, or back again on Fridays at 6 p.m. for another Funful Friday. Thank you very much for watching, and we will see you again soon. Take care for now. Bye-bye.